Okay, ladies and gents, this is, I think, my fourth live, but I do have something that I actually want to say to the ladies, particularly the ladies that are married, close to getting married, engaged, whatever the case may be. So I was running some errands today and I just got back. I went to Dollar Tree and then I end up going to Whole Foods. So usually when I'm out, strange people walk up to me and start telling me like their personal problems and things of that nature. So with that being, I'm using this filter, which I think is kind of cute, but it's trying to find my eyebrow. So let me see if I can find them so it makes sense. Okay, but anyway, so anywho, I was at Whole Foods. That's where I was. I was at Whole Foods, and there was this lady who was, in the same aisle that I was, and she just started chit chatting with me like out of the blue. I mean, she said hi, I said hi, and then next thing I know, she struck up a conversation with me. So the conversation was basically that she is having a hard time because she had to move out of the house that her and her husband have been in for like the past 15 years. Based on what she told me, when they got married, he already had the house. So she moved in with him. And now he has found someone else and he put her out the house. So she's like, of course, beside herself. And she's having a hard time with dealing with the fact that her husband not only is seeing another woman, but he put her out the house. So because I used to work for a mortgage company, and this is more common than it should be, I feel like, for women who get married and either the husband already had the house when you all met, or he may have purchased the house without you, and you really don't think about this until you're in a situation such as hers. I remember this trend that was going around, like, I don't know, a couple of weeks or so ago, which I thought it was really cute. It was the trend where the woman is like, honey, I'm not going to be able to help you pay the mortgage this month. And he's like, you don't pay the mortgage anyway. Or do you even know how much the mortgage is? And at first it's like, oh, that's so cute. She doesn't have to worry about those type of things. But realistically speaking, you need to. You need to worry about those things, ladies. If you are married and you are currently living in a house with your husband and he already had this house before the two of you met, or whatever the case may be, if you were not there when the loan documents were signed, or you don't even know what the loan documents look like. You don't if the house is paid off, then there should be a deed. If the home is paid off, then in any event, my point is, there's a couple things that you should know. God forbid, not necessarily saying that you'll be in this situation like this lady was who I met in Whole Foods today, but what if your husband passes away? Like, what if something happens, God forbid, he passes away, you don't know how to pay the mortgage. You don't even know how much the mortgage is. You don't even know if you can afford the mortgage. I mean, if he leaves you financially taken care of, that's different. I'm talking about situations that happen more common than not. And once again, because I worked for a mortgage company for 5 years, I can't tell you how many women have either won a home in a divorce. The judge said, okay, you have the children. There's no need for you to uproot the kids. They're in school, etc., etc. So what we going to do, you're going to keep the house. The husband has to go somewhere else and find his own house, which is whatever. However, if the judge didn't rule that the husband has to pay the mortgage on this home that you won in a divorce, who do you think is going to pay it? Who do you think is going to pay the mortgage if the judge didn't rule that you have to pay the mortgage? And I can't tell you how many women will call because the mortgage is behind, and they're calling wondering why they're getting these notices in the mail saying that the home is going to be foreclosed on. So it's like, well, your name isn't on the mortgage. Well, I didn't know that. Well, when the house was closed on, were you there? No, he already had the home when we got married and I just moved in. Or I can't afford to pay the mortgage on my own, even though I won the house in a divorce. So there's a couple things, and I did look them up in case somebody needs to get some more, you know, background on this. I did look this up. So I went ahead and I asked a question about this particular thing. Since Whole Foods today she's like, I'll be 50 in January. And I believe she said she's like 43, 44. But her husband put her out the house because it was his home and he's moved in another woman. So she was in Walgreens, or she was in Whole Foods buying just like food or whatever. She says she's gonna have to end up staying with her friend until he'll let her back in the house, which is weird. So, or I guess I shouldn't even say that it's weird. I guess it's common under the circumstances, because it seems like more women don't know anything about the mortgage, or if there's a deed, or if their name is even on it, or even how much the mortgage is every month, things of that nature. So these are some of the reasons why you should have this conversation. And if you are currently married and you may have moved into the home with your husband, or your name is not on the closing document, which you should probably know if you weren't there when he bought the home. Even if you were, maybe you all were married and he went ahead and purchased a house and didn't include you on it. That could be something that you need to consider as well. Not saying that, husbands are like these evil doers of the world, but it would be a good idea if you knew these things. So here's one of the reasons why you should know if you're on the mortgage, and if you're not, you should probably be having a conversation with your husband, like sooner versus than later. First of all, is your name is not on the deed. A deed is separate from a mortgage. The deed is what happens after you pay the home off. The mortgage is your monthly payment. So those are two different things. Kind of like when you make a car payment, you have the registration, but once you pay the car off, you get the title. Because I just paid my car off like 2 or 3 months ago, so now I have the title to the car. Same difference. So here's one of the reasons why. If your name is on any other documents, you don't legally own the house, even if you live there. First thing. Second thing, mortgage is not just a loan, it's ownership. It comes from being on the title or the deed. Limited protection if he passes away, which is what I just said. Limited protection. If the house is only in his name, the property may not automatically transfer to you when he dies. So keep that in mind. A couple of other things that you should keep in mind as well is, if he passes away, it could possibly go to the children, whether they're your kids or not. It could go to his parents. It could go to his siblings. It would really just depend. Hi, May. How are you doing, May? And then also divorce, which is one of the most common things that I had to deal with when I worked for the mortgage company. So if you all get divorced and the house was purchased before the marriage and your name was never added, he could argue that that's separate property, that it's his, and that you have no title to it. Also, there is no equity in building. So if your name is not on the deed or on the title or any of those things, you're not building any home ownership, because it's like you don't even exist when it comes to that particular thing. And then also it leaves you financially vulnerable, like this young lady who I met in Whole Foods today, who had to leave her house because her husband found somebody else, which is disrespectful, is rude, is all those things. But I just feel like, ladies, if you are currently married right now and you don't know how much your mortgage is, you're like, did I sign any documents? I didn't sign any documents, which means that your name is not on the mortgage documents, which means that you don't own that house. And God forbid if something happens to your spouse. It's hot out here, y'all. I'm burning up. I'm sorry, but it's nice out, so I'll suffer through it. So I just really feel like today's lesson is for you all to do your homework. I don't have a husband, so I don't have this problem, but because I met a young lady who is basically homeless because her husband woke up and chose not to be a good husband and kicked her out of the house because it's his. It was his house when they met. Her name is not on the mortgage. And if he wanted to put her out to move in another little PYT, it makes him a despicable person, but He has every right to do it. So that was my little encounter for today. I just feel like sometimes we women get so excited about being a wife, getting married, having all these things, etc., etc., and then you forget that if something happens from a legality standpoint, now keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but I do know a thing or two about a thing or two. So, and like I said, because I worked for a mortgage company once upon a time, I wish I could take this filter off, but I'm in too deep now. So it's making my eyebrows look weird. So y'all looking at my eyebrows. I used a filter before I got on a live, so just bear with me on it. It's making my eyebrows look weird, but that's okay. It's fine. I'll live. I'm not in that lady's position, so whatever. So I just really feel like, honestly, if you don't know if you're on the mortgage, then 9 times out of 10, you're probably not. Like, do you all even know passwords? I've had women call when I work for the mortgage company who husband has passed away. They didn't know passwords to anything. They're asking me, well, how do I know my husband's password? I didn't marry him. Do you even know where the loan documents are? Like, do you all know where the loan documents are on the home? Could you go to a safe or wherever under a mattress? I don't even know. Do you all know where the loan documents are on the home that you live in with your husband? Would you be able to pull those documents if need be, if something happened to the husband? Or would your husband legally be able to kick you out of the house right now if he just came home today and decided that you had to go? Even if it's wrong, even if it's not the right thing to do, which it isn't the right thing to do. But I'm just asking, if your husband came home today right now and said, you know what, honey, I really don't want to be in this marriage anymore. I really just want to be by myself. Hi, Sunny. Hi, Sunny. Or Sunny. I can't see. The sun is kind of glaring. Looks like that's Sunny. Hi, Sunny. So I'm just asking, ladies, do you even know where the loan documents are for the house that you live in? Could you go? Is your name on it? That's the first question. And if not, do you feel comfortable enough with having this conversation with your husband without him getting upset about it? That's another question. Because this lady I met in Whole Foods today is going through it because her husband found another woman and kicked her out of the house. And I'm not laughing because it's so... You ever heard of something that's so wild that is funny? It's not funny because it's hilarious. It's funny because it's insane that he would do that, but he did. And now she has to move in with her friend temporarily until, get this. So, of course, I'm asking these questions. I'm like, well, is your name on the mortgage? No. When we got married, he already had the house and everything was going fine. And all of a sudden, he started acting weird and he got distant. And now he's telling me that he doesn't want me in the home anymore because he's already moved a new woman in. He's already moved her in. There is no divorce. There's no legal ruling that says, okay, yes, you can now move on the rest of your life. He was like, look, I found somebody else. This is my house when we met. When you married me, you knew I had this house, so you got to go. So now this woman is out here sad because her husband replaced her and kicked her out of the house and she has no legal bearings on anything. And it's a middle-aged woman going through something like that and doesn't have a leg to stand on because she didn't do the work. And most women, that's my point in even doing this live, is that most women don't even know that's something that you should be concerned with. You should be very concerned. Here's another thing you should be concerned with, which happened plenty of times when I worked for the mortgage company as well. The woman will win the house in a divorce. The judge will say, yes, take the house, it is yours. And once again, if the husband doesn't have to make the mortgage payments on the house, that's your responsibility. And I would have women calling because they can't afford the mortgage. So they're asking me questions like, well, your attorney didn't tell you that even though you won the house in a divorce, the judge did not rule that the husband has to pay the mortgage, so that's your responsibility. So keep that in mind too. Ladies, if you all get divorced, hopefully you don't, but if you do, and you win the house in the ruling, make sure that either A, you can afford to pay the mortgage on your own, or B, see if the ex will still pay the mortgage until you can figure out what else you want to do, or if you want to keep the house, or whatever the case may be. But the moral of this story is just don't put yourself in a financial situation that you didn't see coming because you relied solely on the trust and the love. You know what I'm saying? Like, we married for love, at least that's what I think we married for, at least that's what I've been told. So, you know what I'm saying? So in any event, that is I got something on my screen, y'all. I don't know how to get this off. Hold on. What is this? Maybe, okay, it's gone. All right. So anywho, I just wanted to let you ladies know, even though I've never been married, I still know some stuff. And like I said, if you wonder why my eyebrows are weird, y'all, I got to keep saying it because I use this stupid filter and I forgot to take it off before I push go live. So if my eyebrows look weird, that's why. So don't judge me. I'm sweating off my makeup anyway. It's like 1,000 degrees out here, but I'm not a quitter. So anywho, so there's that. But anyway, I just thought, like, if anybody wants to chit chat about it, does anybody know anybody? Are you a woman that married a man and moved into his house and you never thought to ask about, is your name on the closing documents? Will he add your name? Like, what? And even if not that, just ask him, like, if he passes away, just maybe come from that angle so that you don't seem like you think he gonna do something bad, but just be like, honey, if you pass away, what happens? Do I get the house? Am I even on the house? If you don't remember signing the mortgage when you all got the house, if you weren't sitting in there in front of a loan officer putting your name on, what is it, 14, 15 pages, I believe, on closing documents. If you're one of these women that could possibly be in this situation that I hadn't experienced for a very long time because I don't work for the mortgage company anymore, but today I was reminded of that. So I just thought that I would come on here and have a little girl talk, because sometimes we get so wrapped up in being in love, and unfortunately love fades, and don't nobody want to be homeless because your husband decided to move another woman into the house and you don't have any say so because he had the house before you even met him and you just married him and moved in the house, and then that was it. A similar experience was with me. Of course, I wasn't married, but my previous relationship, which was almost 3 years ago, I moved into his house, and because I'm smart, I already knew he had that house 16 years before we met. So I knew good and well my name wasn't on the mortgage because, for one, we weren't even married, and for two, I just knew I didn't know him 16 years ago when he got the house. So I knew that being in his house meant that, it wasn't mine to do as I pleased to do in it, so to speak. But I left him. I moved on and got my own place. So you ain't gonna have me out here looking crazy, crying, depressed, because I don't have nowhere to stay. So, I just felt like somebody might need to hear this. And ladies, before you get married, like, you all, like, there may be some women right now planning their weddings and everything is wonderful and sweet and kind, etc., but just make sure, if you all are house shopping together, make sure that your name is on the closing documents for their home. If he goes out and buy a house and you think it's like, oh my God, my fiance or my husband just went out and bought us a house, and you're thinking like, oh my God, he's a great person. He just went out and bought this house unbeknownst to me, and we pull up in this neighborhood and there's a big red bow on the garage door and this is our house. Ask to see the loan documents. See whose name is on it. Because it may look like yours from everybody on the outside looking in. They may be like, oh my God, her husband bought her a house. Did he? Is it their house? Or is it his house? So those are some things that I wanted to share with you all, because I feel like women don't really know this. I don't know. I mean, it's so common, and especially for this lady to be in her mid-40s that is going through something like this. I'm not saying that anybody should be going through it, but I feel like for the younger women at this point, don't end up in a situation like her. That's the moral, or I can't even necessarily like her You know what I'm saying? Her by herself, because there's so many other women based on me having to communicate with these women. I mean, it's insane. I even had a woman who got the house in a divorce and had made a mortgage payment in 6 months, and then she had insane. So apparently she get home from getting her kids from school, and there's not only a foreclosure note on her door, but they had the locks on the door. The city went out and put a deadbolt on her door, and she couldn't get into her own house. So she called a mortgage company frantic, asking me what she's supposed to do. And when I get into her account, I'm like, ma'am, you haven't made a mortgage payment in 6 months. Have you been getting phone calls, notices in the mail? She's like, yes, I have, but I thought my ex-husband was supposed to be taking care of the mortgage. And I'm like, well, ma'am, was he supposed to? Did the judge say that he was supposed to? The mortgage? And I'm like, well, ma'am, was he supposed to? Did the judge say that he was supposed to? Sorry, guys. I'm back. I had to, my iPad overheated. What is going, I don't want this on there right now. Sorry, y'all. I'm back. If y'all can see me, my iPad overheated and it cut off while I was in the middle of a conversation, so I had to resort to using my phone real quick. It's so hot out here. But anyway, I'm burning up. It's 1,000 degrees out here and I'm dying. But, you know they say the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. But anyway, I just wanted to share a little food for thought. All right, let me kind of get in the shade a little bit. Share a little food for thought. It might overheat my phone. Let me hide it behind this leaf. Let me use nature as some shade. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here and say that to women specifically because, I mean, you don't know what you don't know. But now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Any G.I. Joe fans out there? Probably telling my age. But I don't care. But anyway, I just wanted to get on here and say that. And I'm going to go in the house now and cool off because it's super hot out here. I thought the sun was going to go down, but it burnt out my iPad. Well, not really. It just caused it to overheat. And now I can't find, I guess that's kind of sort of decent. But I'm going to get off of here, guys. I just wanted to talk to women specifically about that one thing. If you didn't take anything else away from this live, please find out if your name is on the mortgage, if you got married and you didn't think about that, or if you're going to be married soon and you hadn't thought about that, just don't have yourself out here ass out because you fell in love. Okay? So, anyway, ladies and gents, I will go ahead and leave you to your Monday afternoon. And I will probably do another live maybe tonight, but right now it's 1,000 degrees out here and I am sweating. So I'm going to go ahead and bid you all adieu and we will chit chat later. Bye.